Hi, Sheila Guffey here with Creative Aging. Today we're going to do some drawing with charcoal pencil on black paper, and we're going to practice cats. And so I've looked up a bunch of black and white images of cats and attached them to the lesson plan. So if you want to look and choose your own cat, please do. You can also search for your own image that inspires you. So once you see the process, then you can really branch out and do your own thing and make it exactly the way you like. And so for this project, you're going to need black construction paper, and you can cut down the size or you can just leave it. So this is the original size. If you want to cut it down, you can. If you just want to work smaller, that's fine. Also, you can just draw on the big piece of paper, and then maybe you don't like certain parts and you can crop it. So that's what I recommend you do, because it's easier. You can always crop it later on. If like this one was actually cropped. I originally did it bigger, and then there were certain parts that I just wasn't happy with, and I didn't like all the negative space, so I just cropped it down. So these are going to be realistic. So we're working directly from the photographs and making them look like the photographs. So it's a little bit different, and it is a process. It should hopefully take you, an hour and a half. Don't be intimidated. This is just all about layering lines. So this is really good practice on using charcoal pencil, and it's very repetitive, as you can see. And it's just focusing on highlights and lowlights. Because we're just using the white pencil, you really have to be mindful of how light or how hard you're pressing. So see how bright white certain parts are? And then there's a mid-range, okay? So that's where I let the paper show through quite a bit because you want these to have high contrast. That's what makes black and white interesting. So you need high contrast. You want to see the brightest white and the darkest dark and everything in between. And so just look at the eyes. There's a lot of variation in how I use the pencil and pressure that I pushed with. Now I also used a black charcoal pencil, and if you don't have that, that's okay. This one actually doesn't have black charcoal pencil. I just let the paper show through. But if you have the black charcoal pencil, it's better and it's easier. But we're just going to start with the white. And if you really don't like cats, you can do a dog. Okay? So this the same process. Pick your animal. You can do whatever you want. I just thought cats would be a good starting point. They have really good lines, and then their fur goes a lot of different directions, so you get to practice short line movements in different ways. So yeah, so look at the attached images, and just so to get started, I kind of started both of these. We're going to do this one on the video, but I just wanted to show you how to get started with both, depending on if you wanted to try this one instead. I do like this one. I love the negative space. With art, negative space is as important as positive space. So, this is half of the sheet is blank, but it actually complements the composition really well and makes it a little bit more interesting. Same with here. So yeah, negative space isn't always bad. You can make it work for you. So, and either or is, neither is really easier, so it doesn't matter. Just choose the one that you like. And you might want to I have a few pencils sharpened, so I don't have to sharpen while I'm doing this demo. But you need a pencil sharpener, white charcoal pencil, eraser, and if you have a black charcoal pencil, that'd be great too. And make sure you use black construction paper versus some black paper has more of a shine on it, and it's way more work. It's harder. All right, so you need to figure out the line. So you just want to do a simple outline to get started. So for this one, so I just picked Now you want to draw light because all of this is going to be covered up with the pencil anyways. We just want a general guideline of what the shape is going to look like. So it looks weird, all right? Don't freak out. It will look kind of weird. It's okay. But we're just gonna, just draw a simple outline of the ears. You're just trying to figure out the placement of everything. And so you're gonna be doing a lot of drawing and erasing just to get a simple outline and get the shape of the eye. And so we're gonna, all this is gonna be covered up in a minute, and so I've started this one a little bit. So see, it looks pretty funky, but that'll give us the starting point. All right. So now I have my lines, and I'm going to take my white pencil, make sure it's sharpened, and figure out. Look at the fur. Look at the hair. All right. And you want to really be mindful of the direction of the hair, which way it goes. Okay, so see how that's going down right there and how bright white that is right beside the nose. So I'm going to start right there because that'll be because I can make that the brightest, whitest part. So I think that'd be a good starting point. So right beside my nose, I'm just going to start layering lines. And like I said, this is the process. So it doesn't come together for a long while. You just kind of have to almost be meditative in doing these lines, and should be kind of relaxing. It's not going to come together for a good hour for sure. So I'm able to press pretty hard here. So this will get you to practice the pressure of which you're using the pencil. And so see, I'm doing long pencil strokes, okay? So depending on which image you use, this could be, it depends on if your cat is short or long-haired. And so right here, it turns up the other way. So now I'm going to switch direction, okay? So see, switch direction there, going up this time. So kind of think about this first layer of lines as just the base coat, kind of. We're gonna do so many other layers on top of this that this is just like the background. The more layers of lines you have, the better and more realistic this is gonna look. So you want a good base coat, kind of, I don't know if that's the right word, but you want a good base. I've been teaching so much painting lately. So see right there? See how white that is? And it changes direction again. So let's press really hard right there. I know it's hard to see. I'm going to try to move this camera really quick. So let's look at this part of the nose. So look at the direction of the lines, kind of go straight down and then they start curving out on this side. And these hairs are a little shorter. So you want to do shorter lines here. And it curves, so I'm going to curve it and then I'm going to go up, kind of along with this line. And I'm going, I'm doing this pretty fast. You might want to take your time more, or if you want to go fast and on this part, you're gonna need to go be more mindful later when we do more details. So for the base of it, you just want lots and lots of texture. But then later we're gonna really be mindful and very slow. Okay, so that went all that direction. Now it's gonna change right underneath the eye. So that's where I am. See right here, it's all going the same kind of direction. Then it's longer and it's changing right here and it's curving up. So underneath the eye, see it's kind of going along, it's curving up. So that's where you really need to slow down. So here we are. Now I'm going to, that's why, when you do your original drawing, it's gonna help you a lot. So just whatever details, like I wanted to make sure to do the eyes. This line I drew because I thought that was an important break. And then I did this line just so I'd know where the little kind of mouth started. So the first drawing you do will make this a lot easier, just so you have the reference point. So right here, I'm gonna start going different direction. And I'm gonna press really hard here because this is one of the wider spots. So see, I'm doing light down here, and then right here, it's really bright white. And I know drawing intimidates a lot of people, which is why I kind of think that starting, doing it with just black and white is actually less intimidating. The high contrast just makes it look really good and very frameable at the end. And if any of you have pets, after you practice, you can do your own pet drawing. Make sure to work from a good black and white image. That'll make it easier. If you try to do a color image at home, sometimes that can be hard to transfer into black and white. So I will sometimes save images, like a color image on my phone, and I'll save it in black and white so I can work from it. Okay, so right here above the eye goes up, all right? See that? So make sure that's and so I'm pressing really hard just to get the start of my lines. And it starts turning up over in the eye over here. And so above the nose, they're short, short hairs. So tiny, tiny little marks. And less of them. This is going to be a darker spot, so don't do quite as many. And already I'm needing to sharpen my pencil. Switch pencils. All right, so this is kind of the base. I told you it looks weird for a while. I'm glad you get to see the process, because I know some people see when we go into facilities and teach, they see this and they're very intimidated and they don't see us actually do it. But for everybody, while you're making this, it looks kind of weird. That's a scary looking cat, but it will come together. It's just patience and a lot of lines. So I'm going to keep going, and now I'm going to kind of do some of these wispy light lines. I'm just going to really fine tune the direction. So right here, see, goes up, kind of goes up there, and like lots of light ones downward back there. So this is the detailed part. This is what's going to make it start coming together. And this is where you can really go in and make certain parts really bright white. Like right here, I'm going to go and just be very slow on these parts. If you want to pull out a couple sections and you want to make them the brightest part, then be very careful, because that's a focal point. Your highlights are going to be very noticeable, so you want to be very mindful, and this is where you need to be a little more slow. So right there, I'm going to make it a little wider, more. So I'm pretty much doing the same movement, but just another layer. But I'm still moving this, making sure I'm careful of my direction. You don't want to do your lines all the same direction, because an animal's face is not flat. The hair is going to curve with the body. If you do all of your hairs the same direction, it's gonna look pretty bad. So you want it to curve. Really be very mindful. If you need to cover up part of your image and just to see more clearly, do it. If you want to just look at the eye covered up, then you can look up close at the movement. Where's the dark parts? Where's the lightest? That can help with drawing, just using your paper to cover parts up. So I'm going in lighter, so I'm making more little marks behind it. A little bit lighter. Back here. And the lighter is going to make them look real wispy. So these ones I'm going to go up, curve up. And I'm doing the details of the nose and the eyes last. You can do it first. It's up to you. Those are going to be the hardest parts. So I think that it's good to practice using this pencil with the fur, just to practice your lines and the pressure that you're using. You might have an easier time doing the eyes and nose later. But for people that have drawn for a while, then feel free to do this any which way you want. So right here, let's look at it up close. So that's what it looks like. So we need a lot more. See how light those lines are behind it? So it's real bright white and then lighter. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna work on that section right now. And if you want to start using your black pencil now, you can. I'm gonna do it at the end because I know everybody doesn't have a black charcoal pencil. If you enjoy this project, I highly recommend you buy one. And make sure to buy one that's medium or soft, because that will get really dark. If you buy one that's hard, it doesn't get dark enough, in my opinion. It's because you want the contrast. You want it to be almost as dark as this paper. Okay, so let's measure. Now, sometimes you know, some people might want to use a ruler, you know, especially when you're drawing, you can figure out exactly where your eye is from the side of the paper. Some people want to be that precise, so feel free to use rulers if you want. I just kind of eyeball it, but like, see from the nose, right here, to about right here. I'm going to figure out how that's going to be pretty white, all going in the same direction. So obviously I don't see that here yet. It's not the right shape. So let's, goes about, I'm going to just draw it, kind of circle, and then cover that up. But it goes about down here. So this part, I want it to stand out. So I'm going to do wider just to separate it. So we're leaving certain parts black. So see where this little, and this is my drawing. I did this from a black and white photograph, so I did this one already. So just so you know, it is a drawing. It's not the, but anyway, so I left a little black triangle there. So we're gonna leave that. So I see how I drew the triangle in. And kind of drew the mouth underneath it, kind of a curve. And then do the hair, which kind of goes like a little chin beard, kind of long. It's longer down here. It's lighter back here, so I still want this to stand out, so I'm going to do it lighter behind it. So right here, I'm curving it. I'm going to make it really bright white, and I'm going to curve it out this way. So let me show you up close. Look how flat that looks. That's because there's only one layer of lines. We need it to look a lot better. So see the difference? So it really does look awkward most of this process. I've seen so many people get frustrated really too soon. It takes a while. I promise it will come together. Just don't get frustrated, or try not to. And I understand it because I grew up being a perfectionist, and I got frustrated pretty easily in art, and you know, I was like an immediate result person. So this kind of project was tough. So I think that's why I like it, because it gets me out of my comfort zone. And a lot of people need this. You know, you have to learn to be patient in art and just work with building. That's what art is. It's just building on top of other art. I'm going to switch. I want a really sharp point for right here, because I want some of these little back ones to look really faint and in the distance. Right here. So see how light I am going? Hopefully you can see it. And I found even switching the direction. So see with this chin part, I was starting up here and I was going out that way. It sometimes helps to switch directions, because you can actually start lighter and be more mindful at the beginning. So I like to switch directions. And then it makes you, think about, exactly where you're wanting to go. So right here I'm switching and I'm just going out, and I don't want it to be bright as white, so I'm doing less down here. And I'm not going all the way up. It's kind of the same way with a paintbrush, it's the exact same. You want to really think about how you're using it, which direction you're going. Every little thing matters. So I need a lot of work right here. And right here. So see this part of the eye? We got to work on that a lot. Okay, so look at that. All right, so we're going to keep adding. We're going to do the same thing out here where I'm going to switch directions, and I'm just going to do real faint ones going off the page. It's raining outside. It's so loud. I bet you could hear it. It's kind of a good day to sit inside and do art. All right, so just keep going. We're going to continue going, and then we're going to work on these eyes. Okay, so we've added a lot more lines. Now, before we do the eyes and nose, we need to add some darks back in there. And so I'm going to show you, you can do this with your black charcoal pencil and just figure out like the eyes. Let's do the darkest, right here. Separate that, and we're going to bring in some dark outside. And if you do not have a black pencil, you can use your eraser. So I'm going to show you both. I honestly love drawing with an eraser with charcoal. So you can play with both. This is definitely what's going to pull all of this together and make it look good. So right here, so see right here, it's kind of curving. So I'm gonna, that is important, that curve right there separates from the nose. It's hard to see, I know, while I'm doing it, but let's see, right there. Let's do this dark around the eye. So I'm going to use my eraser right here. Let's look. So it's already looking better. See that? It's coming together. You've got the brightest white and the darkest dark and everything in between, and that's what you want. Let's use a little eraser, and I'm going to, oh here, this is the one that has the eraser. Let's use a little eraser. And I'm going to use it just like the pencil, and right here I'm going to bring out some of the white because I want there to be, see, a dark shadow, and then right above the eye, the dark. Okay, so I'm going to use my eraser and just pull some of this white away. Now you use this just like your pencil. Okay, you do not want to go crazy. You want to be very thoughtful. Just go in and pull and go in the same direction. So this is still considered like the hair, so you want to go directions. And you're going to probably have to do more white on top of it. So we're going to pull some away, and then we might add a little bit more white on top. But so right around the edge of the whole eye, let's bring some of that white away. I just think that it's easier to do lots and lots of lines and then pull some of them away, because then you're gonna have all of that texture and there's gonna be a lot more depth and it's gonna look more realistic. Whereas if you just leave it black, it can like not finished. So that's why I like either adding it with the pencil later or pulling it away and then adding more white on top of it. So see, that's how much I pulled it away. And now I'm gonna take a really sharp point pencil and I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna go just slightly on, because I can see that it's thicker on the eraser. I'm just gonna go on the edge just a little bit to make it more of a gradual shadow. So see how I did that? So there's the difference. That's the black pencil and that is just using an eraser. And then, so I kind of erased a lot of it and then I went in and I just used my pencil and lightly went the other direction to make it not look like a big old eraser line. So you're gonna do that in quite a few spots, especially around the mouth. So we've got our black pencil around the eye. Let's go ahead and work on the eye. And then we'll keep doing more black and white lines. So I personally, I think it's easier to fill the whole thing in like a middle tone. And then go in and add your highlights and lowlights. So I like to color it all in. I just think it's easier to see this way, but everybody has their own process, so don't have to make it just like mine. So I already had this circle drawn out and then I have the pupil, so I'm just gonna go in and see I'm using middle, like a mid pressure. So I'm coloring it all the way in so I can really then add lots of bright whites and darks. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm gonna figure out the highlights. So I think around this part of the edge right here, let's make that like really white. I'm just gonna curve it. Cat's eyes have a lot of pretty where reflections are, so I'm gonna bring those out right here. And then there's kind of some lines, you know? So let's do those, subtle. And sometimes you can even lighten things with your finger if you don't want to use an eraser. So I'm gonna do that, like right here. See how bright that is? That's too bright. I like it bright right there, but I don't want it bright on the edge. Now, you can use your finger to kind of fade things a little bit. So let me show you. See the difference? I'm gonna do the same right there because I don't want to erase it completely, but I don't want it that bright. So, faded just a tiny bit. I'm going to bring in black over on this side a little bit. Let's make this pupil really black. So I'm going to go outside this edge and add a little more black down here and around. And this is where I want to maybe do some little spots too. Okay. As you can see, it's coming together. I know it took a while, but see that eye was not as hard as it looks. Just draw the circle, fill it all the way in, then just figure out your lightest part and your darkest. And I know it looks hard, but it really is not as hard as it seems. It's just time consuming. So let's add some spots. I'm gonna use my black. You can use your eraser too. I'm just gonna add some little spots in this fur. Of course, you don't have to do this, but I think it's cute. And it separates some of these parts. So I'll use the eraser too, just to show you the difference. So I'm just gonna erase it. And then right in here, I'm gonna make some dark for the mouth. So I'm gonna use my eraser. And if you have this kind of eraser, feel free to use that too. So see how I'm drawing the little mouth with this eraser right there? Just moving it. Use this eraser, either which one you like, doesn't matter. And then go in and just add a little more white back in, going the opposite direction, like the eye, just to make it more gradual. So look at that up close. So see, you can't really tell the difference between the black pencil and the eraser. Oh my goodness, that was really scary thunder. Okay. All right, let's work on the nose and then we're gonna be about done. So the nose, let's do the same way as the eye. I'm going to fill it all the way in because I think it's the easiest. My apologies for the loud thunder. My editing program is not working, so I'm kind of just filming these and submitting them. So you're just gonna have to put up with all the little things that happen. For some reason, my iPhone and the drive don't like the filming editing program, so still trying to figure it out. Okay, so see, I went ahead and filled it in, all the same color. I'm gonna use my finger. I'm gonna fade that a little bit. I love smudging things with my fingers. I love pastels just for this reason. It's just really relaxing, and it's good, just like clay and pastels and anything you do with your hands in art. It actually is really healing, good for stress. So I'm going to use my eraser. I'm going to go around the edge, bring out details of this nose. And so up there's going to be a line. I don't want that. So I did the contour drawing earlier. I don't want it to show. See how I covered up all my line drawings? You don't want them to show. So you just do the outline, but then you want to cover it up later. Because the lines, it's not going to look very realistic because you don't see hard lines on animals. So I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to kind of circular draw. So this now that I did the nose, this I noticed needs a little bit more curving for the hair. And there's a little highlight there. I'm going to do that. Bring the black pencil. I'm going to go in there and just add a little more dark up there. So I'm kind of doing circle motion just to make it look more like a kind of a wet nose. So see, I'm totally changing the way I'm using my pencil. So on this side of the nose, I'm gonna add a little bit more dark just to bring the edge out. I'm gonna add a little dark down here to separate from the mouth. A little dark on this edge. Okay, getting there. Think you get the idea. So it's a lot of repetitive lines, a lot of adding a lot of bright whites. Then once you add your bright whites, go in with the darks, go maybe a different direction and just separate it. See how dark it is there? Just add a little dark. Just notice now close up how many directions I'm going with my pencil. So the very end, that's where you want to go in and like, let's do the whiskers. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to figure out some bright white last minute marks, because your hand can smudge some of these details away. So that's why I suggest doing the eyes, nose, and maybe the whiskers last, because you do not want to smudge them away. But you don't mind smudging some of this hair, because honestly, it's meant to be smudged. Looks good. Let's do some whiskers. You're going to press really hard and just figure out where you want them to go. I'm having him go off the page. Some are lighter than others, of course. And if you wanted to go in and add more spots, you definitely could with your eraser or the pencil. So see how I'm using the eraser in this eye? I'm going to go in and go in between my stripes. See that? This was the eraser. I just moved it. Okay. So just keep adding. If you add too much, take a little bit away with your eraser or use your black pencil. It's a lot of repetitive, adding and then taking some away and then adding more and taking it away. And keep doing that until you love your result. And it does not have to look exactly like the image, of course. It's your interpretation. Pick whatever image inspires you. You can do your own search or look at the ones that I have attached. Again, I'll show you this one up close. So same type of thing. This is a shorter haired cat. So I use a lot less, the shorter pencil movements. I left a lot of the paper to show through, and then I made sure that the brightest part was the eye. So I wanted the eye to glow, so I made that eye really, really bright white, and then went in and created, the darkest part right here, and then the center. And I definitely used my eraser a lot on this one. So I went in along the edges and cleaned them up because I wanted that to just pop. So I used this eraser and I went in and went the opposite direction here. So you can see how it's faded on the edges. That's the eraser. Same here. Went in, erased the center, and then went out with the eraser. And then added a little bit more white on the edges to make it not look so obvious. Right here, you can see where I went in with the eraser. So I went along the edge of the ear with the eraser, and then brought a little few lines on this, on the outside of where I went. Okay. All right. Well, I hope you learned something. Please feel free to comment if you have any questions, and we will see you next time. Thank you.